In this video, I'm going to show you how to use airmon-ng to discover Wi-Fi networks around you and then de-authenticate clients connected to a specific Wi-Fi network so that we can capture the four-way handshake. I'll show you how to open up the capture in Wireshark and look at the four-way handshake and see the Wi-Fi password. But probably the part that most people are interested in is I'm going to show you how to crack the Wi-Fi password. May this be a warning to you and your family why you should use good Wi-Fi passwords. I'm going to show you some of the issues using WPA2 and why you probably want to use WPA3 today if at all possible. You also want to make sure that you use good passwords. Don't use weak passwords. Don't use passwords like I'm going to show you in this demonstration. Don't use passwords like your telephone number. It's amazing how many people still use bad passwords today. I'll also show you how to use Wifite to crack the Wi-Fi network. Wifite is basically a script that combines a whole bunch of tools together to make it much easier to crack Wi-Fi networks. But I'll show you in this video how airmon-ng and Wifite can be used to crack a WPA2 network, but fails to crack WPA3. Use WPA3 if you can. Also look at using Wi-Fi 6. Use 5 GHz and 6 GHz. Far fewer devices support those frequencies, however, but they give you more bands, so better Wi-Fi. And it's less likely that someone using a basic adapter like this will be able to crack those networks because this only supports 2.4 GHz. I'll also show you in this video how you can use Mist to download packet captures from an access points point of view. So when there's an authorization failure, wrong password is used, what do the Wireshark captures look like? So I'll show you those as well in this video. So for this demonstration, I'm going to be attacking a Mist Wi-Fi network. This is an AI-powered Wi-Fi network, but if it's badly configured, hackers will still be able to attack that Wi-Fi network. So I'll show you later in the video how you can improve the Wi-Fi security of a Mist network or even just a standard home network. A lot of the principles still apply. I really want to thank Juniper for sending me their Wi-Fi access points as well as sponsoring this video to help you learn the issues with poorly configured Wi-Fi networks and how to better secure them. Now that's enough talking. Let's get started. Now in this demonstration, I'm using a Alfa network adapter. The problem with this adapter is it only supports 2.4 GHz. You do get other Wi-Fi adapters like this. This supports 5 GHz as an example and Wi-Fi 6E. Alfa not sponsoring this video. I purchased this adapter myself, but Alfa did send me this adapter and other adapters. I really like the Alfa adapters. Very good adapters, recommended by a lot of people. So what I'll do is plug this Alfa adapter into my computer. And on my computer, you can see it says new USB device detected, connect to host or connect to virtual machine. What I'll do here is connect it to my Kali virtual machine and click OK. Now for this demonstration, I'm using Kali Linux within a virtual machine. In this example, it's VMware Workstation Pro, which is now free on a Windows 11 computer. Now you could use Kali natively. Question that always seems to come up is people ask, do I need to buy an external Wi-Fi adapter? That really depends. If you are using a virtual machine like I am, then you're going to need an external Wi-Fi adapter. But if you install Kali natively as an example, you may be able to crack Wi-Fi networks just using the built-in Wi-Fi adapter. The reason I'm using this and the reason why there's always a caveat or an issue with Wi-Fi adapters is Wi-Fi adapters need to support monitoring mode and injection mode. So you need a Wi-Fi adapter that supports those two things, monitoring and injection. So your built-in Wi-Fi adapter can be used if it supports packet injection and monitoring mode. So in Kali, I've got a terminal open. And if I use the command cat etc os release, you can see that for this demonstration, I'm using Kali version 2024.1. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, there may be a newer release of Kali Linux. Just use the latest release. uname-a also shows me that I'm using Kali Linux here. Do you have to use Kali? No, it just makes it a lot easier to do these demonstrations. Kali has a lot of built-in tools that you can use for ethical hacking. Now, it's really important that I say this. Only attack Wi-Fi networks that you own or have permission to attack. I have given myself permission to attack this Wi-Fi network. Juniper have given me this access point, so this is an access point that I own and I've given myself permission to attack it. Now, David on my team has created an amazing PDF that you can use if you want a nice reference. So I'll link that below. It shows you what you need. So as an example, VMware or VirtualBox. So Wi-Fi adapter that supports monitor mode and your own access point that you can attack as an example. The commands that I'm going to demonstrate here are available below this video. So the commands and other information are available in that PDF, but I'm going to run you through the commands here. Let's see if the Wi-Fi adapter is discovered. So if I type IP address in Kali, you can see that WLAN 0 is shown. There are different ways to do this. Another way is to use IWDev. This shows you your Wi-Fi adapters. You can see the interface is WLAN 0. And what's important to note here is it's in managed mode. If you're used to older commands, iwconfig may still work. It works on Kali Linux. Notice WLAN 0 is in managed mode. We are going to turn this into monitor mode to attack Wi-Fi networks. We're going to use airmon-ng to enable monitor mode. But before we do that, I'm going to kill any conflicting processes. So put in my password, you can see the WPA supplicant was killed. Be careful when you turn a adapter into monitor mode, it'll kill your internet connection. So in this case, it's not a problem because here I've actually got an external Wi-Fi adapter that I'm doing the attacks on. And I've also got a built-in Ethernet connection, which is basically the connection from VMware to Windows, which gives me internet access. So I could, as an example, ping google.com from this virtual machine. But just be aware that if you don't have two adapters, if you enable monitor mode on your adapter, you won't be able to connect to the internet anymore. Okay, so with that being said, let's enable monitor mode by using sudo, which gives us root privileges, airmon-ng start WLAN 0. So previously, the interface name was WLAN 0. Now, if I use the command iwdev as an example, notice the interface type is monitor and the interface name is now WLAN 0 mon. Old command iwconfig shows something similar. Interface is WLAN 0 mon. The mode is now monitor mode. So the interface name has changed. In Linux, there's always different ways to do things. So you could just use the command airmon-ng as an example to see that the interface is now WLAN 0 mon. Just use whichever command you prefer. IWDev is the new command. Okay, so we want to discover Wi-Fi networks around us. So we're going to use the command sudo, which gives us root privileges again, aerodumpng WLAN 0 mon, press enter, and a whole bunch of Wi-Fi networks are displayed. I'll stop that now by pressing Ctrl-C. This is the network that we're going to attack. So on this access point, I've created two SSIDs, demo Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, WPA3, and WPA2. And I want to show you how I can attack WPA2, but won't be able to attack WPA3. So what we want to get here is we want to get the BSSID name. So copy that. We want to get the channel information. So that's channel 11 and the name of the Wi-Fi network. So grab that information and store it somewhere. So I've stored it here in a text file as an example, BSSID, channel number, and the ESSID. Now, it's really important that you actually understand what you're doing rather than just being a script kiddie, as some people would say. So let me explain some details here. The BSSID is the MAC address of your access point. The power is the signal strength. So notice this number, -38, is showing that this Wi-Fi network has a much greater strength than, say, another Wi-Fi network. At the top here being -86. So in the attached PDF, notice we've got signal strength information as reported by the Wi-Fi adapter. So around -40 is a good signal, around 55 average signal, 70 is a weak signal, 80 to 90 lower limit of signal strength. This is the channel number, 2.4 gigahertz. We're only going to see a small number of channels. Many more channels available in 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz as an example. Here we can see the encryption used. So WPA2 using CCMP as the cipher. Here we can see a network using WPA. That's really bad. And here we can also see open networks that aren't using encryption. Ideally today, you should be using WPA3. So notice this demo Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz WPA3 network is using WPA3 CCMP as the encryption. Much better again to use WPA3 versus WPA2. Okay, so that's interesting, but let's actually launch an attack because that's probably what most people are interested in. We're going to use the command sudo for root privileges, aerodumpng. We're going to write the output to a Wi-Fi capture file. So this is just the name of a file. You could change that to something else. The channel that we're attacking is channel 11, which we previously discovered. The BSSID is the MAC address of the Wi-Fi network that we previously discovered. And this is the interface that we're going to use. So running that command now, we can see at the moment that no clients are connected. We can see the ESSID. And at the top here, we're not seeing a capture of the four-way handshake. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up another window and we are going to deauth clients on that access point. So sudo for root privileges, airreplay-ng, deauth. We're going to deauth all clients, and we're not going to stop deauthing. So continuous deauthing of the MAC address of the access point. Make sure that you substitute this with your MAC address, so the MAC address that you're attacking, and then the Wi-Fi interface, WLAN 0 mon. Okay, put in my password, and as you can see, deauths are being sent to the access point. So to make sure that we get a capture, we're going to connect to that Wi-Fi network. So I'll connect to the Wi-Fi network, and what you can see here is a WPA handshake has been captured. So what happens is when I connect to the WPA2 network, notice a handshake is captured on Kali, but my client keeps getting bumped off that network. So the connection is failed to WPA2, and it actually ends up connecting to WPA3 because it's knocked off WPA2. So the client was knocked off the network, and we captured the handshake, and that's what we need to crack it. Okay, so now that we've captured the handshake, we can stop the deauth attack, and we can stop airmon-ng. Type ls here. Notice we see the capture. So there's the capture, cap file. And we can simply use Wireshark now to open up that capture. And I'll use ampersand so that I can get control back. So in Wireshark, there will be a lot of information here. But let's filter for the handshake. So notice here we can see Mist authenticating the client. We can see our client ePOL message 1 of 4. Here's 2, and that's going to be a reply back from the client to the AP. So that's what we're interested in. So if we look at the 802.1x authentication and we scroll down, notice WPA key data, and here we've captured the key from the client to the AP, which we now can decrypt. So what's really nice here is you can see all the communication between the client and the AP and then capture the four-way handshake. Okay, so let's go back. One thing you probably want to do is stop monitor mode. So we use the command sudo airmon-ng stop WLAN 0 mon. So now if I do iwdev, notice the network interface is back to being WLAN 0 and is managed. So we've changed it from monitor mode to managed mode. If you don't do this, you won't be able to use this interface for normal internet surfing as an example. Okay, so that's nice, but we probably want to crack this password found in that file. Now, there are multiple ways to do this. You could use a dictionary attack, or you could use brute force. I'll put a link to a video below that shows you how to use GPUs to do a brute force attack against a Wi-Fi password. But all we're going to do in this example is use a word list. Kali has a bunch of word lists. So if I search for word lists, a whole bunch of them are shown here, and I'm asked whether I want to extract the ROCU dictionary or word list, and the answer is going to be yes. This file is using gzip so that I can use it to crack the Wi-Fi network, and to do that we're going to use the command aircrack-ng. The capture file, which is that. The word list we're going to use is user word lists ROCU. So just to make that clear, I'll clear the screen. The capture file that we've captured, that would be the name of the file that you have. And the word list we're going to use is ROCU. And I mean, that took seconds. Notice there's the command. It's reading the packets, it's decoding them. And password used here was Spider-Man. Really bad password. Don't use bad passwords. Even if you've got an amazing Wi-Fi system. This is a Mist AI system. If it's badly configured, people will be able to crack your network. Use strong passwords. Use uppercase, use lowercase, use special characters, make it long, 20 characters in length, or longer, 25, 30 if you can. Don't use simple passwords like this. You saw how simple that was to crack. Now that's an example of a really poorly configured Wi-Fi network. On the Juniper Mist interface, I can go and look at my network. So here's the demo Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz WPA2 network, and here's my password. Really bad idea, once again, to use PSK with such a poor password. You in an enterprise are going to want to use 802.1x with a radius server to make your network much more secure. But let's have a look at the other network, which is WPA3. So I've also got a WPA3 network configured with a really bad password of Spider-Man. Let's see if we can crack that one. So back on Kali, let's first demonstrate the sort of script kiddie way of doing it. So I'm going to use Wifite to attack the Wi-Fi network. Wifite basically does a lot of the work for you. It enables monitor mode. It's already done that. It shows you the Wi-Fi network. So here's the demo Wi-Fi network using WPA2. Here's the network using WPA3. what I'll do is I'll attack the WPA version 2 network just to show you how easy it is to crack using Wifite. So I'm not going to use PMKID. I'm going to continue attacking, in this case, looking for a handshake. So this is very similar to what we did with airmon-ng. What I'm going to do is get this phone to connect to the WPA2 network. And as soon as it did that, notice the password was captured, and it's using the probable word list here to get the password, which is Spider-Man. So if you were doing this as an attacker, you would just wait for a client to connect to the network. Obviously here I'm speeding things up by getting the client to connect to the network straight away. Notice how easy it was to crack that network. Do it again, but trying to crack the WPA3 network. So I'll stop this, and in this case it's going to be network 2. So this WPA3 network, I'm going to stop the PMKID attack and press continue. And now on the phone, I'm going to connect to the network to WPA3, and notice here it says failed to crack handshake, did not contain a password. So if I type ls and go to the HS folder here, type ls, notice there is the capture for WPA2. Here's the capture for WPA3. Here it's attacking that Wi-Fi network. If I search for ePOL, it's got the capture. So the four-way handshake has been captured here, but it's not able to crack the password. Let's try and do it the old-fashioned way. So aircrack-ng, the file, and we'll use the RockU password. And notice it says unsupported version key encountered. WPA3 not yet supported. So it tries to attack it, but can't crack that, not supported. So I've now shown you two ways to crack a WPA2 Wi-Fi network. We used airmon-ng, the hard way. Then I used Wifite, which basically combines a bunch of tools together and makes it much easier. I was able to crack that password when this access point is using WPA2, but I'm not able to crack it when it's using WPA3. So in the real world, look at WPA3. The only problem with WPA3 is not all clients can support it. So what you might have to do is put your older clients on a separate network. So put them on a WPA2 network as your insecure network, and put your important clients on a WPA3 network. And look at using 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz. This network adapter can't see 5 gigahertz or 6 gigahertz networks as an example. So someone would have to invest in a more expensive network adapter to attack you. The whole idea with security is just put up barriers. Make it harder for an attacker to attack your network. Look at using WPA3. Look at using 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz. Look at very good passwords, strong passwords. Don't use passwords like Spider-Man. In Juniper Mist's portal, going to monitor service levels, we'll be able to see things that are taking place. So as an example, notice here, Galaxy S22 Ultra, authorization and association. That's happening a lot in a very short amount of time. Something's wrong here. Notice deassociation, authorization, and association. A whole bunch of messages like that. And then the client was able to successfully access the network. So I'm going to run the deauth attack again. On the client, I'm going to try and connect to that network. And what's happening all the time is it's getting disconnected. Connection failed. On Juniper Mist system, we can see this happening a lot. Time is 12:57 about, and notice all these authorization and association messages have happened in the last few seconds. A whole bunch of them taking place. The client can't connect to the network. Under bad here, we can also see where there's been an authorization failure. So the Pixel 7 had the wrong password as an example. And what's nice here is we told that there's been an authorization issue. PSK failed, so wrong password. And what's really nice is you can download a packet capture and look at that, and you'll be able to see association request, association response, and other messages. So what I really like about the Mist system is you can download packet captures very, very easily. For example, for authorization failures or association failures, you can download those packet captures and see what's going on. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and clicking on the bell to get notifications. I'm David Bombal, and I want to wish you all the very best.